Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a new installment of Revolutions, the ongoing diary of my spins. Thank you for your continued support of my channel. If you've been watching and commenting, I really appreciate that conversation that we're having in the comment section. Yeah, so I'm sorry if I offended people with my preference of calling, um, you know, these things records as opposed to vinyl records, but that's just a preference. I don't want to offend people. I'm certainly not gatekeeper. And it's just that you know it's something that you see so often. And one of the comments that I read last time was that it's more SEO friendly. Yes, so that's what it is. It's so that you can get views. That's why I don't call them vinyl records. So because my viewership is very niche. No, yeah, don't take any notice. I'm just rambling. I've been doing this for way too long, and I'm just a bit sick of seeing certain trends just being hijacked. That's why I don't identify with the vinyl community anymore either, because I just find the whole concept's kind of jumped the shark, really, a little bit. It's just been kind of hijacked by people for profit, basically, really. And what is the vinyl community? Does it really exist? I don't think it does. I think there's a lot of different little communities of people, and as long as you find your mob, then it's great. So this is the Big Star 1000 community, and you're very welcome here. And if that what I'm saying here offends you, then yeah, unsubscribe by any means. I think if you're so thin-skinned to think, oh, he doesn't like the vinyl community, well then go for it. That's your choice. I can't change that. I'm going to show you some records that I've been playing, um, which I think it's a good cross section of my collection, and I think I hope you'll enjoy. Um, so I've just recently done a video on Mutant Disco, and I revisited this record here, which is very close in spirit. Jawobble, The Edge, and Ogotsukai, Snake Charmer, which is done by François Cavoquian, one of the key sort of New York DJs. This is a really great little. It's a mini album, like an EP, but the title track specifically is really amazing. Snake Charmer is really sort of funky and loose, and serpentine. Snake Charmer, yeah. I also revisited this album, which I hadn't played for a long time. This is the Virgin Prunes. If I Die, I Die. The Virgin Prunes, a band from Dublin, in Ireland, and Googie was I think the lead singer, is best friends with Bono. Basically, they grew up together, and Gavin Friday is in that band as well. Also, one of Bono's best mates. So they were kind of like a twin kind of band to U2 at the time, but they sort of never really made it. They're very obscure in a way compared to U2. And the sound is very industrial, kind of post-punk. You hear a lot of things like Killing Joke in there, kind of sound that you get from that. Um, this single by Tortoise, Why We Fight, from circa 1996, 98, I don't know exactly which year. Just about my favorite Tortoise song. The essence of post-rock distilled in like 3-4 minutes. Amazing. Tortoise, a collective from Chicago, dealing in obviously post-rock. The best entry point, I think, would be something like Millions or TNT, which I think that both are masterpieces, but this is a beautiful single, and this doesn't appear obviously on either of those albums. So yes, that's great. Last weekend, I pulled out my copy of 10 by Klaus Schulze, not X, but 10. Why 10? Because it's his 10th record. You can see the first 9 are there. This is a sublime release. It's very sort of ambient, spacey. I mean, it's one of these kind of Berlin school kind of classics, you know, and everybody should hear them. And all the songs are named after like notables, you know. And the first track, which is 24 minutes long, Friedrich Nietzsche, the great nihilistic, existentialist philosopher. The track, the bombast of the track only matches the bombast of the writer himself. Just fantastic, sort of like electronic meditations, you know, like sort of spacey and crazy. Here's a record that I hadn't played forever and ever. It's a fantastic release. George Duke. You see they got a lot of creases from the cellophane, but I don't really care. I think it gives the record a little bit of personality, but that's what I find. So I love these early George Duke, the Inner Source, the Aura Will Prevail, and you know, these kinds of early kind of MPS releases. This MPS, very sort of Zappa-esque. Sort of, it's got a jazz fusion meets a kind of soulful approach to it. There's a lot of Zappa connections on this, because obviously he composes with Frank Zappa, and he was in his band and everything. So yeah, the Aura Will Prevail, absolutely essential in that sort of jazz fusion, early 70s jazz fusion kind of style. Sorry, I'm not very informative, but I enjoyed it. Get Up With It, Miles Davis. One of these wild records, you know. Got this song called Rated X, which takes a long time to actually get into, but once you get into it, it's just, you know, because Miles just plays the organ on this, which is not his normal kind of way of being, but the band is exquisite too. It's great. The opener though, He Loved Him Madly. My God, that's one of Miles' best tracks from 1974. Excellent record. The thing is falling down here. Another Berlin School classic that I revisited. Actually, I should have put them together. Is Michael Hoenig, Michael Hoenig, in fact, if we want to go with German. And it's called Departure from the Northern Wasteland. It's a promo stamp there, as you can see, but not that it matters. It's a great record, again, spacey, ambient, very sort of meditative records, very trippy. Like lots of layers of like, you know, beautiful keyboards. Spectacular music, amazing. And I love the cover too, from 1978, later kind of effort. I played this for the first time in forever. Atom Heart Mother by the Floyd. Okay, I really never played this, but I love the first side. The suite of songs is just gorgeous. What's it called? Yeah, the Atom Heart Mother suite. You know, just the motifs with the brass. You know, and it just takes you to a place. I mean, it's an album that I used to, you know, play more often when I was younger. But I really still love it. I showed this in a recent video, but I played it again. I just scored this record at a record fair a couple of weeks ago, but I really love it. Kenny Cox, just it's a beautiful record. It's very, very underrated, I think, in the Blue Note catalog. It's one of these Blue Notes that can still be had for cheap. So if you see this, don't hesitate. It's I love its soul jazz kind of post boppy, soul jazzy kind of workout. Love that. Um, Last weekend on Sunday, I revisited Glassworks by Philip Glass, which is one of his best records, really one of my favorite ones, with like tracks like Flow and Islands. Flow is beautiful. It's just an exquisite piece of piano. Yeah, so Philip Glass just basically plays the piano and the synth on this, the organ. No, actually he plays the electric organ. John Gibson is on soprano sax on Flow, yeah. And Michael Risman plays piano, electric organ, and the bass synth, yeah. 1982. Philip Glass, the great minimal composer. And speaking of New York, Philip Glass, I pulled out my favorite Lou Reed album, Berlin. I think Transformer, song for song is, often regarded as the Lou Reed pinnacle. And I used to think that for a long time, but I think now the time has passed, and I'm converted to Berlin big time. It's just a beautiful record. Actually, there's a city I'll be visiting in the new year, Berlin. So I'm looking forward to going back. I love Berlin. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But this is a very tragic record. It's a concept album of a couple breaking up, Jim and what's her name, Caroline. Just yeah, The Kids is the song on this that you should probably. The Kids, where you get kids screaming, and the story goes that they told kids that their mum was leaving them, and they recorded them crying, which is it's pretty cruel. Another New York connection, Adrian Belew, Lone Rhino. I played this last night. Very much in the Talking Heads mold. It's the same time period, 1982. If you like Remaining Light, you would like this very much. And Adrian Belew was in the Talking Heads at the time, and this was recorded at Compass Point Studios, so it just tells you everything you need to know. It's a very sort of new wave, jittery, jerky new wave record. I love this. And talking about new wave is something that's a bit obscure that you might be interested in. This is What You Want by this is Skippy Nose by What Do You Want. Sorry. What Do You Want is a new wave act which was formed by David Chesworth, who is the lead member of Essendon Airport. I've spoken about David Chesworth and Essendon Airport on multiple occasions on this channel. And this was just recently repressed by Chapter Music, and I could have got an original of this. I really could, but I like the idea that David because I've seen David Chesworth live, Essendon Airport live, a couple of months ago. And I like the idea that I can still, he's still alive, so we'll get money for this, which is cool. He's got Robert Goodge from Essendon Airport on this as well, but it's a great sort of new wavy, sort of off-kilter, new wavy pop records. Very sort of like dark wave, synth wave in places. Very hard to, it's kind of art rock, art pop kind of meets synth wave. It's hard to describe, but I think some folks would like this. It's very cool. And since I'm talking about Australian obscure dark wave, I want to talk about Dog Photos by Laughing Hands. Again, this is also a David Chesworth project. He was the engineer. And Laughing Hands is a post-punk act from, I think they were from Melbourne. Yeah, this was recorded at La Trobe Studio, which is in Melbourne. And very minimal wave. That's all I'm going to say. It's a very minimal wave record. Laughing Hands, Dog Photos. I think if you're into that sort of sound, minimal Cabaret Voltaire kind of like sound, I think you might enjoy this. Um, since I'm talking about post-punk and that kind of thing, there's a record that I bought a few months ago, which I'm really enjoying. It's the Raincoats moving. The Raincoats is a band from the UK, fronted by I mean, you know, Lola and all that, those kinds of songs. What's her name? Gina Birch. That's right, Gina Birch, Vicky Espinal. Yeah, that's the Raincoats. This is their third album or fourth album, and they've moved into a more sort of funky territory, a bit more playful, I think, a bit more quirky than their first couple of albums are more rooted in the serious post-punk. This is a bit sort of more, it's got a quirky quality, a sense of humor, I'd say. Not that Lola didn't have a sense of humor, that's not what I'm saying, but it's more playful, I think. Here's a really beautiful Sophistipop record. Sophistipop is kind of this sort of subgenre of music which combines, I'd say, the aesthetics of new wave, but fuses them with a kind of bossa nova or lounge or jazz. I mean, you think of acts like Sade, for example. She's that kind of sound. It's pop soul, you know. This is great. Le Weekend. La Variété by Weekend, not Le Weekend. And Weekend is a band that features Alison Staton, and Alison Staton was the singer of Young Marble Giants. So there's only one Young Marble Giants album, and if you want more stuff by that band, you can always go to this. It's a bit more sort of Brazilian kind of flavored. If you like the early Everything But the Girl, I think you would like this a lot. Or even the Blue Nile, or Prefab Sprout. These are the kind of sort of sonic comparisons that I can make with this. It's a beautiful record, and I remember buying this in Germany last time I was there. But I just love this. Okay, I'll continue with some more post-punk. Why not? This has been on my shelf for years. I bought this 15 years ago or something. Des Jeunes Gens Modernes. It was an exhibition that they had in Paris about it was post-punk, new wave, cold wave. They had this kind of like exhibition, and they put a record out just to celebrate the thing. And you've got some Lizzie Merci Desclous, which I talked about in the Mutant Disco compilation, but Mutant Disco video. And you've got Mathématiques Modernes, you've got Guerre Froide, really great sort of post-punk, cold wave comp, just killer. Les Jeunes Gens Modernes, the track list if you're interested. It's kind of in the wheelhouse of Joy Division and, as I said, Killing Joke and Cabaret Voltaire. These are the bands that you reference there. I'll continue with some more sunny music. Like, this is kind of depressing. Here is Seu George and Roger. It's a live session that those two did in the Netherlands in 2019. It's just a beautiful bossa, neo bossa nova kind of record. It was sent to me by my friend Tamo in Germany, so thank you again, Tamo, if you're watching. I've just revisited that. I really enjoyed it. Here's an Australian treasure for you. Dhani Benet. Here's Dhani Benet. He looks thoroughly uncool and very cool at the same time. He's a bass player, and I would suggest that if you want to dig into Dhani Benet, he makes videos about how he makes music. Like, he's just on YouTube. You can watch him. He just talks about how he composes songs and stuff, and he's a really fun guy to listen to. He lives in Sydney, I think. and he's released a couple of albums. This is like an EP called Le Piano. It's got 4 tracks. It slaps really. It's a really funky album. I love everything about this. The sleeve, the packaging, everything. The music is just terribly funky. I mean, the guy is a legend. Dhani Benet, yeah. If you've never heard of him, check his videos when he talks about his own recording process, and he loves the bass. Like he loves the bass, and he talks about it with such respect. It's really interesting. I was talking to my good friend Chris Cole last week, and he reminded me of this album which I've got on my shelf, Missing Link by Valkyrie Inside. This is a double album on MPS Records, with Alan Skidmore, Albert Mangelsdorf. You've got who's on this record? So he's the fine German guitarist. You've got Mangelsdorf, Skidmore, John Taylor on piano, Eberhard Weber on bass, John Marshall on drums. I mean, gosh, this is a great lineup. Super funky jazz rock records. I mean, this being like this kind of German original pressing, I don't think it's that easy to actually come by, but if you do, no hesitation. Laurent Petit-Girard. You can't really see that on the side because there's the hype sticker, but here's his name. Laurent Petit-Girard, who plays the piano. This is a record from, 1972 or something like that, no, 1971. And it is a really sublime French jazz funk record. Teddy Lazare on flute, and then you've got double bass, cello. So if that's your thing, it's just a really great. Sorry, not very descriptive. Came out on Superfly. Take a listen. I mean, obviously. All right, I'll stop here. Leave me some comments. Take care.